the first thing we want to do is approve the minutes, and I'll bring them up. If I can find them. Okay. Does anyone have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes?
This is from back in July.
No, this,
Yeah, July
it's-
29th.
no,
Oh,
the
no,
meeting,
that's
I
it,
forgot to change that.
Okay.
Thank you
okay.
for picking that out.
This was
No,
the
I used the
September
same,
meeting.
I used the
Understood.
same, you know, the previous thing, and then I just make changes, which I obviously didn't make. Thank you, Sid. Okay, anything else? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, minutes are approved. Okay, so then you all got the agenda, and so we'll go through it. First, before a welcome to our new member, I'd just like to know if there are any announcements. We'll leave the thing about last night's meeting till later. I think I have that in here. Yeah, do I? Let me look at my agenda. Yes, number 8. Okay, we'll leave that announcement to later. You can anticipate something good, kind of. So any other announcements?
I just want to give a heads up that my term technically ends in December. I'm happy to renew if we stay in the township, but we're trying to move and stay in the area, but we just don't want to live in an apartment anymore. So cross your fingers that, and if anybody knows of any wonderful little houses or townhouses for rent, please let me
For
know
rent,
so we can
okay.
stay in the township.
Okay, I'm going to look hard. I'm going to put that down. Look for a house.
It's hard in this area. Like a lot of people are trying to rent right now, but
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, your term actually automatically renews. I don't think you have to do anything.
well, some Ben emailed me and said, do
Yeah,
you want to continue or whatever? And so I just told him the situation.
yeah. Okay, any other announcements? Okay, thanks. So once again, welcome to our new member, Lisa Halliwell. Lisa was the winner of one of the baskets, and this worked out really well that she had interest in the EAC as well. So Lisa, did you want to just tell us a little something about yourself?
Sure. I'm Lisa Halliwell. It's so exciting to be officially on board. We moved to Radnor earlier this year, but my husband grew up in Radnor, and so I've been coming here for 20 years, and I've spent a lot of time here. I'm an environmental lawyer. I work for a nonprofit that's based in DC, and I'm very excited to get started with everyone.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you and welcome.
Welcome.
Any questions for Lisa?
Thanks.
Okay, so a couple people mentioned, this is number 5, mentioned meeting live at the Township building. I asked today for Zoom because as I expected, I'm not feeling well. I got my COVID booster last night and I feel like a truck hit me. So I just wanted to give, we'll have a little vote, although we should really get Ray's input as well about this. I don't know if, I know Sarah's obviously been many times in the meeting room, but I don't know if the rest of you have been there. It's not very personal. You sit really far apart. You sit like in a little row where you face the audience, which we never have. And now there are also plexiglasses in between. So you have to talk through a microphone and you don't get to see the person when you're talking to them. So to me, the Zoom is more personal. Plus the other thing you have to do is if you have a document to show, like we've been doing a lot, that has to be submitted and uploaded on the computer there. And so it has some negatives. So what is your feeling? You know, I'll go by the majority, but I vote for staying Zoom simply because I think it's more, oddly enough, more personal. I don't know.
I don't really mind staying on Zoom. I like being able to look stuff up sometimes while we're all talking and stuff. I don't really have any desire to sit in a room between plexiglass with a mask on again yet.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe we can just, my opinion is to just keep reassessing it as the
Right.
months or years go on, and maybe we do one in person and one Zoom, like back and forth or something.
Well, the other thing is we could get together informally if we want to like meet and interact in person. We get together at someone's house or something, which, you know, be nice to interact personally. You know, so that's another option. What do you think, Sarah and Sid? And Lisa?
So I agree. Whatever the township building does not sound appealing. EAC happy hour I'd be up for.
Okay. All right. Any other comments?
I'm happy to keep it to Zoom for now, and we can reassess each meeting. That works for me.
Great. And Sarah?
Well, because we don't ever have an audience, if we thought people would come to the meeting, then I think we should do every other one as a live meeting. I admit that it's, I find being live at the township building rather intimidating. It's quite artificial because you have your mic off unless you want to speak. They're getting much more relaxed about the masks.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody except a couple of us in the audience had on masks last night. Certainly the commissioners didn't.
Right.
The only piece about doing it Zoom is I think we tend to forget that these are videotaped.
Recorded. Yes.
And so I know there are commissioners who lurk in it. So
yeah.
I know I speak inappropriately, probably more than I should, but
well, we'll remind you.
Just something to keep in mind that there are other people watching this.
Right. So I'll go like this or something when you when you need to stop. Okay, well, that sounds good. Then we'll count on Zoom and maybe we'll try to get together or try at least a meeting once in a while in person at the township building.
Well, November is going to be a difficult meeting time. I'm grabbing my calendar because we have Thanksgiving.
We have to, are we allowed to reschedule?
Well, we're going to have to because Thanksgiving Day is the fourth Thursday of the month. I just realized that.
Thank you. Okay.
But
I'll find out about that.
Ian can change that. I don't know what group is meeting on the 3rd. I don't know whether I have the Parks and Rec is the 18th. So if we could get away with having a meeting without having it recorded, by the township, we could do it any night that fourth week in November. Monday is the BOC when they accept the budget, and there's nothing else that week. So we
Okay.
could do it another night that week via Zoom.
Okay,
But that
Right.
would be for you to arrange.
I'll find out about that. I'll let you know as soon as I know. Okay, does anyone have a particular day or days that won't be good for them? That
I
you
would
know-
prefer not Wednesday, just because it's
right
immediately
before
the day
Thanksgiving.
before. Yeah.
Okay,
I might be out. I don't know. I'm having this thing where all the things that I do have been converging in the same week. So
that usually happens, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I got my booster last Friday. I think of you, Margie. I'm only just coming out of it today.
Really? Oh, don't tell me that.
Well, you're not
I
my
felt-
age. You're not
Yeah.
my age. And
Yeah.
I don't
but-
think you have a history of vertigo. And
No.
that's what I've had all week.
Oh, really? Oh, gosh. Yeah, I felt like a truck hit me earlier
Yes.
today, but I already feel a little bit better than I did earlier in the day. And that, yeah, I still have the sore arm, but a minor inconvenience for
Right.
a good outcome. Yeah. Okay, thanks. So the inevitable has hit, looking at the plastic bag ordinance again. Hopefully Lisa might have some insight for us on this one. So I corrected, oops, wait. Do you see the single-use plastic bag ordinance?
Yes.
I corrected all of the pieces that had to do with the straws that were in there, and I made a few other minor changes. Basically, it's the same that we discussed though last time with the 25 cents. Where's this? There's our exceptions. I didn't change any of that. I don't know how much time you spent looking at this. And that there's a 6-month ask first policy. And then after that, there will be, did I get rid of the, no less than 10 cents per bag? Yeah, so did we decide on 25 cents or 10 cents?
But Danette, I can't remember the exact figure that Philadelphia is starting about the plastic bags. Do you know? Somehow 7 cents is in my mind.
I thought we had said 10 cents. I'll check again.
Okay, did we? Okay, well,
I
that's
think-
what's here.
I think 25 cents is pretty high.
Okay. So we'll leave it at 10 cents. And then otherwise, everything else we discussed, without the straw thing is there. I don't know, are we ready to vote on this? And I'm also would like your input as far as when we should send this on. It'd be nice to wait till after the budget maybe,
Yes.
because this will fall by the wayside at this point, I'm afraid.
I don't remember, does this document have like a why we should have this, what the rollout
Yes,
plan?
it's all in the
document is?
beginning. Yes,
Okay, is there like
It's pretty thorough.
okay,
it-
I just forgot how it started, but
Yeah,
does it have like?
it was part of your packet when the packet that.
Yeah, I
Jen
have
sent,
just read about 50,000 documents this week, so.
So it's about the
No,
environmental.
okay, yeah, but do we have like we would propose that we start marketing it this way and notify businesses like this, and like, do we include any of that kind of information? I don't remember that.
How we would get, I mean, I
No,
guess
I
that's
think
up to
that's
the
a pretty good
business.
idea.
Like maybe if we did some kind of intro letter or accompaniment for implementation or something, because I hate to just give them this ordinance and say, here, now you have to figure it all out.
So that's great points. Yeah, what are the steps from here, and you said budget meeting, we're not actually asking anyone for any money.
Right,
related
but
to
they're
this,
kind of
correct?
preoccupied now.
I
just
understand.
thought,
Okay,
yeah.
got it. So this is an ordinance we want the township to pass, essentially.
Yes.
So what we would do then is that, I don't know, I'm asking and brainstorming for the time. So we would present this to the meeting of the bigger meeting and say, hey, this is the ordinance we're trying to pass. Here's legal language. And here's a few presentation slides on what we're actually what's contained in this ordinance. So sort of the cliff notes. So we
right.
present that to them, right? And ask them, this is why we want to have this passed, right?
Right.
That's what we're going to do. Great. So once we get this right, we should prepare 3-4 slides that summarize what this is, so that, because no one's going to read this, until
Right.
they're interested in passing it. And so those
As with
slides,
everything, yeah.
right? So those slides should be the summary of what's in here, and then a sort of a peer comparison, I think, of other. I guess Philadelphia does this already. So
Yes.
what other big cities and what other small cities or
Well,
small towns do this as
Narberth
well?
has passed it, and Westchester has passed it.
Perfect. So we should just sort of, put like little, almost like news clippings to show how that's happened. So we should prepare, and I'm sure Ray would be good at this too, just prepare a few slides and then bring that to the township, present it, to get our 5 minutes of presentation time, and then hand this out to them, or
Right.
provide the ordinance when it's in its
Right.
final form.
And I'm going to consult Ben and Bill, because they were very helpful when I asked them about how to move forward with the sustainability manager proposal. So get their input as well before it's formally introduced.
And you should
and then-
know that if the Board of Commissioners accepts the concept, it then goes to the solicitor, and it may be rewritten by the
Okay.
solicitor, who has a great deal of experience advising municipalities. He's got a depth of knowledge of who's done what and how they did it and whether it worked or not. And
That makes
then it
sense.
will come back in a final form to the Board of Commissioners for passing or not.
Yeah, I didn't think it would happen in one fell
Oh,
swoop.
no. But we did talk about, I think we talked about talking to the likes of Giant and some of the really big vendors, because Giant is a big corporation, and not all the people who come to the Giant in Radnor live in Radnor. So
Right.
what do you do about that?
Well, if they come to Radnor, they have to go by the Radnor ordinances.
But that may be
They're
a
not gonna
question
get
that the Board
exceptions.
of Commissioners is.
Because if
gonna
we go into
answer.
Philly, we're not going to get treated any different.
Well, that's right.
plastic bags.
So
So Sarah,
Um,
that's a big step, right? So to start sort of reaching out to the big users. Question is, what do we have to? I mean, will this not get passed unless Giant signs their name to this, saying that, yeah, we're on board
no,
with this?
it's
No,
not,
no.
would we have to, would we?
And we don't
want
need their
to?
okay.
I
What do we
mean,
want?
I shop almost exclusively at Giant and at Mom's, and Mom's, there is no plastic. But what I'm noticing at Giant more and more, except for the people who fill up their cart with 10 bags and they're all double bags, so they're getting 20 each time, is many people are bringing their own bags.
Right.
But I've also noticed that people have begun to save their single-use plastic bags, and they're being returned to Giant. And it would be interesting to find out what they're doing with them. Are they going to the plant in Pottstown who's making benches out of the bags? As a matter of fact, the EAC of Tredyffrin announced on Facebook this week or last week, just very recently, that they produced their first bench out of recycled plastic bags, which is a very novel way of showing Tredyffrin Township to minimally save the bags and return them to the supermarkets.
So
Right.
can I ask, we have this legal document here, right? And we're all saying that Philadelphia has passed the exact same thing, right? So,
Well, similar.
I don't-
okay, right. So shouldn't we start from the Philadelphia document rather than present our own language?
I think this was. Colleen, who was a former member and was a lawyer, drafted this. I didn't put this together.
Right. But
and-
my point is that we almost don't need to write this. We almost be better off.
Well, it is written. Already
Yeah,
written.
it's
I understand,
completely
but
written.
my point is, we're gonna, part of the selling of this is that it's really easy to implement because it's already been vetted and a lawyer's already looked at it, and Philadelphia's already adopted this exact same language. And therefore, you don't even, your solicitor doesn't have to work that hard to modify, right? What if we get to the solicitor's desk and that person is saying, well, great, I'll review this ordinance after I've reviewed this stack of my 45 other ordinances I have to review before I get this out, right? So maybe what I'm suggesting is not the right thing, but I'd love to get solicitor input today on how this works and how it stacks up on their plate. You see what
I
I'm
think,
saying?
Margie, I think this ordinance was patterned by Colleen out of the Narberth ordinance.
Right, I
Did
believe.
that get passed?
I know she patterned it
Yes.
after one. Yeah.
Yes, yes, it did pass.
And it's in legalese. I don't think there's going to be that much changes. I mean, I think the only bad thing that can happen is it's rejected, but yeah, I don't know that there will be.
I'm just trying to grease the skids, right? Because if we, so the first hurdle is we have to get the Board of Commissioners to even consider this, right? So we have to present this in a way that's not a 20-page legal 6-page legal document, right? That's
No,
number
I
one.
think, Sid, you have to present an ordinance. If you just present a concept, they'll send it to the EAC or planning or whoever they decide they want to send it to. So you're delaying the process. Then
I'm not
any
suggesting we
ordinance-
don't have the ordinance ready. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just stepping it out, right? So step one is convince the Board of Commissioners that they want to do this. Step two is that we've got to get it past the solicitor. So
No,
what
no,
I'm trying
no.
to do
You
is
know,
bring-
those are
bring
the
it-
same, those are the same steps. You present a proposed ordinance. It then gets sent to the solicitor. Then what you have to know that in Radnor, it has to go to a public hearing. It has to be advertised and go to a hearing for anybody who objects to it. And then after the hearing, where the commissioners can discuss it, but so can the public. Let's say Giant could come in with a rep and talk about the parts of it they liked or not. Then it gets passed. It's a real process.
Right. So I guess here's what would be my ask, right? And Lisa, I don't know you that well, but I'd love for Lisa to pick up the phone, introduce herself to solicitor, say, you're a lawyer, I'm a lawyer, we should be friends, which is not how that works. But do that and say, hey, we're proposing an ordinance. If the commissioners like the ordinance, this is what we modeled it off of. Are you going to have to rewrite it? Is there a template we should use of yours? Is there something else we should do so that once it gets to your desk, you see it as zero work to flip it to the next step, right? So we're trying to make that person's job easier, which maybe moves us to the top of the stack. Or you could just ask that person, how is your workload? What's it look like? And get some insight for us so we know if we get a pass of commissioners that the solicitor's not going to be a holdup. And maybe I'm making an assumption that there is a holdup there, but I imagine if one person is just sitting there doing that job, it's a tough job. It's overwhelming amount of work for a
His
single person.
law office supports him. We have one solicitor, but it's a Bucks County office and it's a pretty large office. And you can be sure John Rice is handing off to underlings to do a lot of the
Who
work.
pays for it then?
Oh, the township pays him.
Right. So then we're asking the township for money then, right?
No, you're not directly. You're asking for the solicitor.
But you see my point, right? We're asking for resources. I'm trying to make this a no ask situation.
But I
Again,
don't think
that's why I'm
they're,
trying to clear this.
Sid, I don't think they're going to read over it without being paid.
No.
That's right.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting when it's 10 grand to rewrite it versus $1,000 to review it because it's written the right way from the get-go. That's a big difference to Radnor Township. So when we sell it to the commissioners, we say, by the way, we talked to the solicitor, we got their input, we already wrote the ordinance for you. You need one quick, QC check and you're done. That's a selling
But
point to get this passed.
is the solicitor allowed to do any work without the blessing of the township? I wouldn't think so.
You brought it up, Danelle, and the solicitor would be, his little clock would be ticking while he talked to Lisa. Whatever you do, it's part of what he gets per year.
Yeah,
So
I don't
wouldn't-
think we have the power to even do that.
We
Yeah.
don't.
We don't
I'm
have-
thinking a lot of the legwork is done. I haven't reviewed the Narberth ordinance, but it appears just by the searching I've done that this is what that is modeled off of. They have the
Yes.
10-cent fee. Philadelphia is set up differently. There's no consumer fee from what I'm reading quickly. It looks like they've implemented it, but they won't start actually enforcing it for another until April. And the enforcement happens at the store level, right? So if Giant is caught giving out plastic bags, they would get fined rather than a fee on the consumer. And the consumer can pay 15 cents for a paper bag. So that Philadelphia is set up differently. This appears to be based on Narberth. I can go through and see if there are differences so that when we're ready to talk to the solicitor, we know exactly what those are. But it sounds to me like I like Sid's idea of putting together a few slides so that we can introduce the idea. You know, the first slide would be why plastic bags are a problem, and a little bit about the other cities that have had success with these similar or, you know, similar type bans, and you know, why we think it is important here. And then we can say, and here's the ordinance ready to go. It was modeled off of Narberth. We tweaked it in XYZ ways for compelling reasons, if there even are any differences. And at that point, you know, if we're worried about lightening the load on the solicitor, you know, I would be willing to work with him with the blessing of the commissioners.
Right.
You know, if he says, you know, this is fine, but we would need to change this piece of it, I'd be happy at that point to go back and help him rethink it or kind of take it back before he digs in and racks up any hours on that. So maybe that's the way to do it without circumventing the process here.
Right. That sounds-
I like how you were thinking, Sid, but we don't want to circumvent the process.
Okay, so for today, I think what we need is just to have a vote to further this. In the meantime, then, you know, I can put these slides together unless someone else wants to. And, you know, just get the vote, the yay or nay vote, and then move from there. It will be, the other thing is to not call it a plastic bag ban, because it's not a ban. It's an ordinance that requests that you charge for the plastic bags you give. So I think Philadelphia's is a ban, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a big difference. Yeah. So do I have a motion to, or do we have any further discussion first?
Yeah, and under the third, where we have gone, starting from the above, the now therefore, 1 above and 3 above, it still talks about straws. So you need
Where's
to,
that?
so where's your cursor is on this paragraph right now? It says carry
one?
out plastic bags and straws within the.
Did I miss
township
one? Yep, I
revenue.
did.
Okay, and then go down, not to the next one, but the one after that. And again, you've got single-use carry-out plastic bags and straws.
I don't know how many times I looked at this.
You gotta do a search for the
Yeah,
word
do a
straws.
search and replace.
Yeah. I should have done that. Yeah. Any other comments or changes?
I'm happy to help on the slides too. And Sid, maybe, you know, you and I can go back and forth on them. If you want to put down like a first draft or something, you can email them back to me. Because that's kind of what I was getting at with like an introduction to it, not just putting the legal language right in front of them. But having like, even if we don't go to present it, or if just one person does, at least there's some bullet points that they can read about it, right? And maybe a suggestion for an implementation strategy. So I think that's a great idea. Glad that we have Lisa that can do some compare and contrasting for us. And maybe recommend some changes too if we need them.
Yeah.
Is that
I will
okay,
do
Sid?
that.
Will you be able to do that? Yeah.
Sure, I'll
Um,
throw a
one-
framework together.
One quick note on messaging, because I agree, maybe it might be more attractive to folks too if we don't call it a ban, because it's not, but
It
maybe
isn't a ban, yeah.
a
It's
plastic bag pollution fee or something.
Oh, here's straws too.
Yeah,
There's probably a shorter way to, something snippier, maybe someone with a mind for advertising or something is better, but maybe we can think of a kind of a nickname for it that's a little bit more snazzy. Plastic bag pollution fee or something.
Yeah. Okay.
go.
So it looks like we probably need to keep, do we want to hold this so we can make some additional edits?
I
so.
thought I did all the edits, but obviously I didn't.
Up
Do you-
there, you also, under purpose and findings, you have plastic straws. See, under purpose. and
Top of the
findings,
next page.
Then
Did I
it's on the
bring up
next
the
page, you
wrong-
talk about plastic straws.
Did I bring up the wrong copy of it?
I don't know.
Where it's in this section?
Well, go up to, so there you are, top of
Okay.
that page, single-use plastic straws by commercial
All right.
establishments. I think, as Danelle suggested, do a find and replace.
Okay. All right. So then we won't vote on it today.
Well, it has my vote, just clear it up, have Lisa
So-
look at it.
Okay. So do we have a
'Cause
motion to vote on it?
We're talking December. You don't want to
Pending
do
edits.
anything before the budget is accepted. And God knows we don't want to do anything before the election next Tuesday.
Yeah. I don't think we work that quickly. Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
nice?
We don't want to get caught up in what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. So if we vote on it and then I'll go over it with a fine tooth comb and maybe one other person, it always helps to have two.
I'll
Do
be happy
I-
to go over it
Okay.
with you.
And I will too.
The
Okay.
biggest. one
So
of the
maybe
ways-
we should, can we upload it to a Google Docs and multiple people can edit the same draft so we don't have
Okay, I
multiple
can-
draft problems or?
I can do that. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Margie, I was taught by a proofreader that when you get down to the details like this, you read it upside down.
I can't
Well,
do that.
because you have to look at every word because this is very unfamiliar and you can really pick up, oops.
Okay.
I could read it
I'll
upside
let
down,
you
but
do that, Sarah.
reading out loud is helpful. too.
Yes.
I read it
Okay.
right to left. That helps me.
Well, I
All right.
remember a classic case of Longwood Gardens sent out 4,000 invitations for the opening of a new garden. And the first person called up and said, "This is wonderful, but what is the date?" They had never put the
That
date in
happens.
because everybody who was working on the invitation knew the date. So they assumed it was in it and it wasn't. So they had to send out
Yeah.
4,000 more invitations.
Yeah. So did we decide we're going to vote on this now pending the corrections?
I would rather vote after the corrections are made.
Okay.
I
All right.
think
Then we'll
that's,
wait till next month, and then the slides and such will be ready by then. And that's good. Okay. So we'll do this next month. Yeah, I do want to move on because there's a lot of stuff yet here.
When is, so let's back target. What is the date? Which Board of Commissioners meeting do we want to be at?
Well, you
Well,
don't want to be at a commissioners meeting until December because the two meetings in November are about the budget. And that's going to take up all the air,
Yeah.
In
So
December, is that early
December
late
at the earliest then.
the earliest,
Yeah, so how often do they meet? Once a month?
twice a month.
Okay, good. And so early, mid-December is our target?
Or wait till January. Depends on the election, Sid, as to who wins and who doesn't win, which will really determine how the board is made up.
Yeah,
Um,
please vote. Yeah,
Please vote.
yeah.
Please vote thoughtfully.
Thoughtfully and often, haha.
um, Okay, so, yeah,
Okay,
so we.
so we
yeah,
do
so
need to move
I
on
agree
now.
with the timing then. We need to have completed materials by our next board meeting. And
Yes.
then Margie, we just need to, you know the answer to this. What do we need to do? How far in advance do we need to have material? If we want to present mid-December, how far in advance do we need to have those materials ready for that? Because that's our date.
Yeah, it would have to go at least, I mean, they make the agenda like 4 or 5 days ahead.
But
So,
you'd have to tell Bill White you want
yes,
it
so it'd
on
have
the
to go
agenda.
through Ben and then Bill. So I would say at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, so let me do this then. What about a vote to, I don't think we need to vote for any of this stuff, but what about a vote to get on the agenda for mid-December to present something along, a plastic bag reduction ordinance?
Okay, I
Right,
mean,
we can vote on that.
I
How's
don't know
sound?
that takes a vote, but we can certainly shoot.
Well,
for it.
yeah, I mean, that if we're on the agenda, we'll by definition have to have something ready to
Okay.
get on there. So I'm not worried about what we get on there. I'm just happy. I just want to get on there to discuss it
Okay,
on the agenda.
all right.
So
Okay.
Margie,
If you
that's
wanna
the
vote on it,
13th or the 20th of December.
Okay,
20th of December, it's a Monday. Oh, damn.
It's the 13th and the 20th.
Oh, good. Yeah, let's go to the 13th then. So I would suggest we do whatever we can in our power to get on the 13th agenda.
okay,
Unless Sarah, who's the wisest of us, tells us we should wait till January.
okay.
Just
Yeah,
depends
I
on
think
how
Ben
the
and Bill
election
have
goes.
given me good advice so far, so I'm also going to go by their suggestions.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, so then we will move on. And so I did want to bring this up because I think it's useful for our future planning. Now what happened to it? Interesting how I lose things here. Yeah. Where did it go? Had it open and I know it's no longer open. Hold on a minute, folks. Somehow I got rid of it. Okay. Like, weird things are happening here. Okay.
I think plastic bag reduction ordinance may be a better terminology for all of us,
Okay.
if you
Yeah.
guys agree with that. Reduction rather than ban, right? Sounds a little bit friendlier.
Oh, rats. I'm having technical difficulties here. I don't know what's going on. Oh, here we go. Okay. So I attended this, the 7th annual EAC summit where all the EAC directors and so forth met first we had presentations and then the different EAC shared what they did. So first, I don't have that on this document, but first the PADEP did a presentation about the things they're doing. Then Delaware County New Sustainability Office talked about some of their plans. They're not really doing anything yet, but they're in the planning stage. And then the Montgomery County Sustainability Office spoke, and they're doing a lot. Montgomery County is like light years ahead. And then Tredyffrin Township EAC spoke about what they're doing, and they're also quite active. And then everybody else shared what they were doing. So from all of that, I listed some projects that others are working on and that perhaps we might want to pick one or two. And what my hope is that either these or something else you come up with, that everybody would choose a project. I think we could get a lot more done if we divided and conquered. Um, so, first of all, some of them talked about some townships have ordinances against meadows in the front yard, and we could check about this. Does anybody know? Sarah, do you know if
What's
we
that mean?
I don't think the topic's ever come up.
Okay. Then working with school districts to do composting, native plant resolution by the township, and they have like demonstration gardens. The park right across the street from me has extremely large marshy area, which would be great for like a rain garden, some kind of demonstration garden. And then you have a sign there and, with, a description, and then the Environmental Advisory Council. This is a great way to get things out to the public. Some of the EACs did open streets where they closed streets different times for people to walk and bike, do mural painting, have educational events. They were talking about the clean energy co-op funding projects. To look into that. Could we get a Radnor Township email? What do you think of that? Have like, EAC, email that so that we could communicate with people via the email. Does anyone know whether this would be allowable?
I don't know why not.
Okay.
I think that would be a great idea. I think I remember talking about that at one point.
Yeah. Okay, because, yeah. And then when you do send things to people, like when I was sending the winners and all that, it's coming from my email and they're liable to just, delete it, not recognizing the email.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this was a great suggestion. I think Tredyffrin does this. Utilize MLK Day and have a township-wide environmental projects. What do you think of that? And then Ray came up with all these suggestions.
The schools do something for Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
Which would pretty much take up all the air, because if the parents get involved, they get involved because their kids are involved.
So you don't think members of the
And
community
Villanova
would be
does
interested?
it. I think it may already be taken in other ways.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then Ray gave all these suggestions about things to do at school. I don't know if anyone would be interested in picking up on this. I skipped that one that I really liked. Where did that go? About it seems to have disappeared. I really am not with it today. The thing about book club in the library, reading environmentally,
It's number 7 in your first column.
I'd love to do that one personally. So, and then these were Ray's suggestions, elementary school, middle school. But somebody would really have to take one of these and run with it.
Well, Margie, just so the group knows, I wrote Ray back. We already have a contact in the middle school, a young girl named Coco and her friend who are very interested in the environment. And in the high school, we have the Earth Action Leadership Conference, which now has 150 members. And their focus this year is a desire to get rid of the use of styrofoam in the high school.
Oh, cool.
And what they really need is, they do the work. It's just meet with them and guide them. I have the name of a contact in Tredyffrin, who the name of the woman who did the work or the advising last year. And I wrote her and the Earth Action Leadership Conference head and introduced them to each other. And I have to go back and say, somehow, did anything happen? But there is action already going on in the middle school, desire in the middle school, and action in the high school, so it.
Okay, well,
it's
I'll have
not
to
like
get
you
that
have to
name from you.
reinvent the wheel.
I'll have to get that name from you, Sarah, because I have master watershed certification, and I would love to do this. Like doing the macro invertebrates, we could, work with those and such. So if we have the contact, that would be great.
And one of the heads of the Earth Action Leadership Conference did a internship on recycling and more composting this summer. I went with her when we went to Linvilla to see how the food waste composting is done at Linvilla Orchards. And let me tell you, if Radnor had the will, it could be done at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, they brought that up at the EAC summit, and somebody said that they think Linvilla Orchards is at its max, that they cannot handle anymore. I don't know.
But it could be replicated at Skunk Hollow very, very easily.
Okay. Right.
All it would need is the buckets.
So does anyone have a particular liking for anything here, or shall we revisit this next month and everybody could choose a little project? It'd be nice to be working on, several things so that, hopefully at least one or two would have some good outcome.
I'd like to hear what Ray has to say. So it was because
Okay.
it was his idea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and then there's these other ones as well. Anybody a big gardener? Master gardener or anything? No.
Well,
I'd love to have some like rain gardens or little meadows in some of these unused areas in the park where it's too marshy for anyone to go and play,
We do have, there is like rain, I wouldn't call it a garden, but there's like a rainwater system outside the township building.
Yes, catchment.
Rainwater capture and reuse. Yeah.
I don't know if it's capture and I don't know if it's reuse, but it's capture.
Yeah.
Well, they got to get rid of it, right? So I think it ends up being reused. I
It's
think
just
very-
going
very
into
good
the
water.
creek. It's not getting pumped into somewhere.
I know. Rainwater
Yes,
capture
it's
and
just
discharge.
stormwater. It's just
Yeah.
stormwater. Yeah.
So there's two things on this, that well, it was one thing that's really bothering me, which is car idling. You see it a lot at school lines.
Oh,
There are
yeah,
some
that's your
townships that have-
your pet peeve. I remember that.
Yeah, it bothers the hell
Want
out
to
of me.
work on that?
Yeah, so I think, I don't know how many ordinances have been passed around that, but I'd love to do that because everyone here has cars and it's, people just, anyway, you know what the problem is. Second thing is, I don't know about you guys, but everyone in my neighborhood, including me, gets 100 Amazon boxes a year, if not more. Sad. But there is a Amazon donation program where you can use those boxes, pack them up with stuff you'd want to donate, and they'll give you a label, and you can just send it on as basically it goes to Goodwill through the Amazon box. So you can kind of reuse the Amazon box that way. And that's, the ordinance is one thing. The ordinance, if you can get an ordinance around idling to the township, that's a huge win. You don't do an ordinance around, donating boxes.
No.
You do a newsletter, right? So if we were to do something, a lot of the stuff, even all the stuff that Ray has down there, just simple community education. I think we talked about a newsletter a long time ago. If we could do a biannual newsletter, I think that'd be a win
Right.
for us.
I mean, we've got 50 names now. We can send a newsletter. Plus, we could put we can ask some of the commissioners like Lisa and some of the others to put little items from us in their newsletters.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. We should
Yeah.
we should just do PSA. I mean, we should figure out what their newsletter schedule is and put our little PSAs in that. I think that'd be a great way to talk about any of these issues, and we can hit a different one every month, right?
I just really would like, do you guys read newsletters? I don't read newsletters.
I read all the Radnor township ones,
Okay.
usually to see what sports my kid's not playing this year. But I read for that, and I once in a while think I'm going to start pick up basketball, which I know I'm not going to, but I'd like to know that I have the option that Radnor Township organizes it for me.
Yeah.
So I do read them. I get the little news alerts, right? So there's a lot of coyotes now running around Radnor Township, so that's cool. So I got the news snippet on that, sent it to my wife and scared the hell out of her. So that was cool. So yeah, there's sometimes and the break-ins, right? We have these wonderful Range Rovers that get stolen all the time. So yeah, I mean that's tantalizing stuff. So yeah, I do read some of that stuff.
Okay.
Well, one of the things you could do is feed the information to Molly and have her put it out on social media.
We haven't had much luck with that. And their social media, like I know that this is being recorded, but the township has to step it up. You can't comment on any of the Instagram posts. We need people to be able to comment. I message them about this all the time.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Because I have questions about things that they post.
Okay.
And I also think that we would be able to communicate more if we were allowed to post or have our own social media page.
I know. but
I
that
couldn't
one's
agree
out
with
there.
you more, Danelle.
Yeah. So I think we might need to move on. We're running out of time
Okay.
here. The sustainability office update, the meeting was last night, and Sarah and I spoke a little bit about this proposed sustainability manager. And Sarah and I left early, so I didn't stay till the end. But Sarah told me just a little while ago that it's been, how best to put that, positively received, that possibly starting in June of 22, that we would get a sustainability person for 65,000. Was that it? And
That's for
then,
6 months.
yeah, and then the following year would be the full year salary.
But you have to, can I just try and give a quick précis?
Yes.
Radnor has two parts to its budget. One is salaries and utilities and operating public works and et cetera, et cetera. And that comes out to a zero tax increase, which is very important to the commissioners. Now, the reality is $1.6 million is coming from the federal government for 2022 and 2023. So that's how they were able to balance the budget. Then there's sort of a second half of the budget, which is, gee, we'd like to do this. And the police wanted 3 new positions there. In this, we have to vote on it thing. We can add it in or take it out. Emergency management position. Community development wants an inspector of commercial establishments. They're finding steel that's corroding and wiring that's not hooked up or it's not insulated. So that position and the additional to the police position is coming directly from the money allocated for the Board of Health, Radnor's Board of Health, because those 2 positions are not going to continue because the county is going to open a health department. So that's how that money got put in. Then there's one for the trees. They want a tree manager who has to be a certified arborist. I could not see the screenshot as to how much they were going to be paid for, because for some reason, Bill White used a light blue font on it and it didn't transmit to the screen. He admitted that you couldn't read it. So I don't know. And the sustainability is more than sustainability. It's also grant writing. And that is a tremendous need for the township because they don't have any grant writers.
And I think that was received very positively.
That was received very, very positively. They, in case you're interested, in 20 and 21, they lost due to COVID a total of $5.1 million. That's the first time they've admitted that. So on the 8th of November, they're going to introduce the ordinance, and there's going to be a lot of discussion of what should be in that part of it and what should not be in that part of it. And then they'll come to an answer. And then on the 22nd of November, it will be passed. So all the discussion / arguing is going to be done on the 8th of November. It's a good thing that it's in this proposed budget,
Mhm.
but it's my grandmother.
It's not a
always
done
said,
deal. Yeah.
there's many a slip twixt cup and lip. And it's not a done deal, although they were very enthusiastic, as enthusiastic as they get, over the grant writing piece of it. So the EAC will focus, I think, I hope, on the potential grants that we can apply for that will be focused on climate change. And let them know it's very important to try and make everything as revenue neutral as possible. The acceptance of the full second half of the budget will require an increase in the millage of 0.08, which Bill White said, because it was asked, on the average home, $20 more a year. So that's not bad. The sewer rate will also go up, but what they don't even include is the fact that you can do personal conservation, because it's how they get it off the water bill from the previous year. So if you don't use as much water, your tax is, it's not a tax because you can't deduct it from your income tax. And that was done purposely. It's a fee. The stormwater fee will not change for 2022. So I'm very cautiously optimistic. But it's not set in stone.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Yeah. So that's where we stand. And I think our time is just about out. We can bring up the other stuff next month. Yeah, so just a little planting something in your ear. I got this chair position in February, and I am not a leader type person, but I was the only one that was willing to do it. So if you think ahead in February, if you might like to try your hand at being the chair, I would be more than happy to hand it over. But if nobody will, I'll probably keep doing it for a while, though not forever.
I nominate you.
Pardon? What did you say? Sid? I didn't hear Sid.
That's
Well,
all right.
you
I said I
nominate
nominate you,
you.
Margie.
Thanks. Okay, so that was just a little side thing. Any other old or new business before we say goodbye? And it might be a nice idea to have, we always got a lot done in our informal meetings. Might be nice, even if it's on Zoom, to have a mid-month informal meeting, and because we really covered a lot of ground today. So kind of we'll keep that in mind. I know everybody's really busy, but it's only an hour. Nothing else. Okay, so then we will adjourn. And thank you, everyone. And thank you, Ian. And we'll see you maybe mid-month, or if not next month. I'll let you know about I'll let you know about the change of time. Yeah.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you so much.
I hope you
Bye.
find a place to live, Danelle.
Yes, we'll better find one for her.